Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. You know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Not my skill set, nor do I want to learn it.
Sometimes, because I put up stuff which I kind of test in the wilderness. I don't know if I was the best one to teach them that. However, and although it was a really good when you said, I was like,
oh, the baby out with the bathwater.
I do know where that.
So for me, rather than doing something half-heartedly or like just half.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Happy Wednesday. I had to remember because Tuesday still tries to creep into my head.
I know. Well, we were on Tuesday for so many years.
I know. It's kind of like you have to get, you have to read what they say, generate your brain with that. So
it's like the first few days of the new year when you have to write the new year.
Oh my God. You know, I still sometimes put 2023. I was like, wait a minute, we're in August, Barbara. Really?
August. Yeah.
And then in a little while we got to do 2025. Whoa.
Whoa. Exactly.
Well, if people are just chiming in, you are here at the Time to Shine Happen show with the BBs. I like that. We should just do that. Do a picture. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and basically what I do is I just want people to understand who they are, their purpose, what they really should be doing, not just a title. And then once we kind of dig into that, you need to be visible. People need to know who you are. People need to know your gifts, your talents, and what you give to others, not so much just yourself, but you help others. So I help you in that capacity in all different kinds of ways. I can go forever and ever, but I just want the light to be shining on other people. And Miss Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am founder of Wellness Playroom for the best version of you. And and that's, I think, what I do is I work with late career business professionals who are facing retirement, and they have no idea of who they are outside of their job title and their job description, or they're facing declining health, or they're facing financial uncertainty, because those are the things that happen when we retire. What am I going to do when I don't go to work? Am I going to have to stay home with my wife? You know, those kinds of things. And I hear that all the time, but I don't want to stay at home. So find something. So, but they don't always know what, or they're, my body is falling apart. I'm stressed to the max. I've got arthritis. I'm just all of these kinds of things. And then what am I going to do without the paycheck? Yeah. Very real things that we need to address. And right now, it's one of the biggest subjects that people are not talking about.
Yeah, and they need to.
And they need to be while you're still working. And that's what I like to work. I like to work with the people that are still working. Find your passion What's your purpose? Are you doing what makes your heart sing right now? If you're, and while you're still young enough to make a change, or find that joy within what you're doing. If you cannot make a change, you can still change your attitude and change your perspective and change how you think about what you're doing, and surround yourself with other things that can help mitigate the fact that you don't, you let's be honest, there are people that go to work on Monday going, I hate Monday. Have you ever said that? Oh, I hate Monday. And that's exactly what. Yeah.
I'm going to make people feel good right now. I have said that. So
in the past, I have said it too, because I wasn't doing what my God-given talents were supposed to be. It says in the Bible that Jesus came that we might have life and have it in abundance. Well, so what does having abundance mean to you? And it's like Sherry and I were talking before the show that some people, a friend of mine, Steve, I don't know if you know Steve Erickson, but he geeks out on the tech stuff. He loves the tech stuff. I'm like, Steve, I don't understand even a tenth of what you're saying. Just tell me what button to push.
I just want what it does for me. That's all I need to know. I don't want to know all that.
What do I have to do? What do I have to do? And and yet other people say to me, well, Barb, how can you just come on a podcast? It's like, well, but that's fun. Find the thing that makes your heart sing. What do you like to do? And not somebody else's version of what you like to do.
Yeah, not somebody. You want to make sure when you make your heart sing, like you said, that it's the song that you like and not somebody else's song.
Not somebody else's song. And not somebody else's melody and all of those things, because that's what life is about. And life is too short to go through life feeling, and I'm speaking from experience. I did that for the first 60 years of my life. I realized that I was living my life through someone else's lens. And which I was happy, because I didn't know I wasn't happy. I thought I was happy. I thought I was upbeat, kind of felt I was doing okay in my life. I had a happy marriage and kids and a lovely home. And then all of a sudden my life was pulled out from underneath me when David died. Okay, I had to restart. I had to take, reevaluate my life.
Yeah.
And then
I love how you mentioned, Barbara, that you thought that everything was going good. You was doing, you was married, children, all that kind of stuff. And then something happens and it makes you really open up and look at the bigger picture on some things and say, you know what? I wasn't really, I was living my nice life best. Now we're not going to put that, we're not going to downplay that. But then there was so much more that you found that you're supposed to be doing as Barbara Ellison. Yeah.
After. When my life was totally pulled out, the rug was totally pulled out from under me. Did not expect to be a widow at 61. But then, okay, what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where we always talk about your, how you and I always talk about we need to make a choice. We need to make a decision. And we all have that way of doing that. Either you're going to go this way or you're going to go that way. And whatever road that you take it and you have to deal with that. So I always say I like to take the uphill road if I can. Even through all if it's even something that's really not good, like losing somebody or, losing a job or losing a friendship or what have you. A lot of times it was funny. I was talking on a podcast just the other day and we were talking about like losses in our lives. And one person said, oh, that's so sad and this and that. And I said, well, it is. And I know we're human. We go through that. But sometimes things happen for reasons. And we have to take what happened and use it to propel us into other things. Like when my father passed when I was 17, I'm so glad that I picked, a different route and to really have a mission to really help people know that they're worthy of who they are. Because I thought I wasn't worthy. So I feel like if certain things didn't happen, maybe I wouldn't have been going through the journey that I went through. And just with, yourself, Barbara, there's things that happen in our lives. We're like, oh my God, but it shook us, like you said, to get us to that next level. So yeah, sometimes when you look at it like that, it's a positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I
overall.
think one of the things that, right. And one of the things that I have really learned for myself is that when everything's going along and everything is hunky dory, you don't learn anything. You're just coasting along life. It's in those struggles that we build our muscles, and those muscles are muscles of resilience and muscles of choice, of learning choice, that we every day we get to choose what kind of a day we're going to have.
Yes.
She calls them, if you get out of bed in the morning and stub your foot, okay, are you going to have a stub your foot rest of your day? Or are you going to say, oh, ow, I didn't like that, but oh well, it just happened and I'm going on. Wrap a Band-Aid around it and go on. And it's in those little choices. And I love when she says that, because she's a law of attraction kind of gal. And she said, because you bring to you what you concentrate on. So if you spend the whole day, oh, I can't believe I stubbed my foot first thing saying that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, guess what? That's what you're attracting. It's like, I have to tell you, last night I'm feeling my
See, just like we were talking about, things happen, right? So you got to make a choice. You either say, oh, I'm just going to sit here and stare at the screen while my partner in crime, my coworker, my co-host left, or you're going to keep going. So I just want to say what Barbara was saying. I love her. She's just a woman of wisdom. And that's why we really gel together on this show and help each other in different avenues. Another queen that's coming on in a little bit, Sherry Shoemaker, she basically is going to talk about some things that we just kind of mentioned, some things about going from grief, or something that, happened traumatic, to grace, to be able to maneuver, through that. I mean, I know all of us, like I was saying earlier, has a different loss. Maybe we had a loss of a job, a loss of a friend, a loss of a relationship, a loss of a parent. All that can happen. Just a lot, maybe even a loss of success that you thought you had, and now it didn't happen the way you wanted to. That's a loss too. So there's all different types of level of losses and trauma that you go through. And you have to make it in your mind to say, because it's going to start with you, no matter who that you bring in, any coach, any mentor, whatever. I always tell people, because I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a consultant too, but it always has to take you to take that first step, to tell yourself, okay, do I need this individual? What am I going to do? Do I just stay in this? And, I always say this too. We're human. So yes, for a minute, you might stuck for a second. You might not make that decision right away to say, okay, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to keep it moving. That might come, maybe a week from now or 2 weeks. And that is okay. This is why I always say, that's why I love what our queen is going to say. She's talking about grace. We have to give ourselves some grace, because when we don't give ourselves some grace, that's when we can make like fast decisions. And then maybe at that time, that decision shouldn't have been a little bit different, because we rushed it, because maybe somebody told us, well, you get over it, time will take notice. Hey, Barbara. So I was just trying to say, we said things happen, we just keep it moving. So me. So I was just trying to say, I was just kind of just explaining about, our queen that's coming is going to be talking about grief to grace, and that we have to give us grace even when things happen, because we're not going to, sometimes we don't make those decisions right away, like that good decision. Sometimes we have to sit in it. Sometimes we have to just really just be that humanistic side of us and just scream, yell, and cry. Or even had a little pity party for like a good 5-10 minutes. Well, I used to have a pity party a longer time than that. Sometimes my pity party would last like months. But that was like the early Barbara. Right. But, I've learned to kind of quench the pity party so not so long. But even with that, when I was, when it was going a long time, I still had to give myself some grace. I still had to forgive, because as soon as you beat yourself up, that's when things start to get kind of icky. And you don't want to keep doing that, because now you're just hurting yourself.
Right. Because you can only go in, there's only one of two directions, up or down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, and it's in the down parts that we learn as I said, it was started to say anyways, heaven knows what happened. Started to say that's where we build the resilience muscle to get back up again.
Yes.
Get back up and start to breathe again. And sometimes it's all we can do sometimes, just to breathe again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes you need to.
That's okay too.
To resuscitate yourself. And sometimes you can do it, you start on your own, or sometimes you need somebody like a Miss Queen Shirley Shoemaker to resuscitate with you. Or you need a Barbara Ellison to resuscitate with you. And it's okay to reach out for help. See, I say that because I was a person a long, long time ago. I didn't like to reach out for help. I thought I had to do everything. Or if I did reach out, it made me feel like I was, not as smart or what, those little things. You start beating yourself up again. You start thinking in your head. And I'm so glad that I got out of that now it doesn't take me no time. If I see that I can't do something, it's not something in my wheelhouse, I'm like, okay, let me make a phone call or let me reach out. I know that they know how to do this. I was like, I don't have the time to be trying to figure out something that I shouldn't probably even be doing, because that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my expertise. So yeah.
Exactly. I think I told you one time I was doing a project and it was just kicking my butt. And it was like, what's wrong with me? That's the thing. What's wrong with me that I can't do this? And it was just, God just spoke to my heart and said, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not supposed to be doing it.
I love it. Where's the Barbara like that? There's nothing wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with you. You're just not supposed to be doing it. So he was just making it tougher and tougher and tougher on me until he got my attention. It was just getting tougher and tougher and tougher. You're not supposed to be doing it. And so,
I love it.
Sometimes something has to get your attention.
Yeah.
And go, oh, geez, is this really the direction I'm supposed to be going in? Yeah. No.
Barbara, I love them. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because just like last week, I was doing something like that. And the more I said, dang, I can't. I said, this is not probably a rocket scientist. Why is it taking me forever? Da, da, da. And like you just said, God was like, because you shouldn't be doing it. Somebody else will be doing it, or you need to put some some technology to it or something. But then I kept going. See, that's the part that was the insane part. I was like, no, you know how you did all of a sudden you'd be like, no, I gotta get this. I know it's not that difficult. Let me just and now you got hours pass by. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, now to spend all this time on top of not getting it done.
and then you beat yourself up for I wasted all that time. Why didn't I just call somebody?
So you beat yourself up for two things. First, it's not done. Second of all, now you waste all that time to try to do it.
And now you're wasting time.
Lesson learned is
if you can't get something right away, give yourself, because don't give up on stuff that it's like, oh yeah, I really do want to learn how to do this. Okay, but put it down and come back to it. Because sometimes you just need to change your perspective, because sometimes you can read the same thing over and over and over again and go, what am I missing here? And it can be one small sentence, one small phrase. I forgot to do that piece. Yeah. So so if it's not coming to you and you really do want to learn it, understand that they're the learning curve. I mean, address the learning curve. Okay, this learning curve is a little steeper than what I thought it was. Take a break from it, come back to it.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, where am I really? And then sometimes you'll see it and go, why was this so hard? And I'm speaking from experience right now because I'm learning how to do TikTok.
Oh yeah, I know you're doing a TikTok. Yeah. That's your new baby.
Yes. And I was telling Sherry beforehand that one of my last little posts went up over 2,000 people, and I'm putting out to get get leads from let's say we all need customers for our businesses and our services. And so last night I put out one that said, if you want more information about this, put this word put electrolytes in the comments, and I got a comment. So who was that? How do I find out about this? Oh, great. So it's all in just in slow, but the learning curve was kicking my butt.
But see, look at out of all that, look what came from that. That's awesome. I'm glad you stuck to it.
I'm so glad that I stuck to it. So if it's something like that, then yes, stick to it. But if it's really something that that you just don't even feel called to do, and you're just doing it just to grind through it, then stop doing it. Don't do it. Quit doing it.
Find the other expert to help you with that.
Find another expert who geeks out on doing it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and that loves it.
One little thing, and then we're going to bring up Dr. Sherry. Today is Senior Citizens Day.
Oh, okay.
And did you know that
Senior Citizens to us?
I'm doing it because I'm officially a senior citizen.
I am too. I don't have no problem claiming it.
No problem claiming it. But anyways, in a census they did in 2017, there was like 47 million seniors in just in the US in 2017. Well, they're saying, according to that statistic then, that by 2060, that number is going to double.
Because we're living longer.
And the technology. And the thing is that, so I'm talking to somebody here. If you're a senior, find that thing that makes your heart sing that you can teach, because we are the only generations that is going to see all of the new technology, where we have had, we were at the start of the internet, we were started at the space age, we were at the start, we're seeing all of this, and there are people coming up and have no concept of, what do you mean your phone was attached to the wall?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
or the first car phones that were like,
the bricks, yeah,
So that is just there. We're the ones that are going to know about all the benefits, all the drawbacks, all of the technology that went into all of this new things, all these new things that people now would just absolutely take for granted. I can talk on my watch.
I know it's we do that. I have to remind the younger people, don't take this for granted, because when I mentioned typewriter, some of them don't even know what that is.
I have no clue what a typewriter is.
Yeah, no clue. No, none.
No clue.
And you talking about the phone on the wall?
And a phone on the wall.
Young one, it's like, what are you talking about? That's in a historical society.
Or with me, it says like, well, yeah, our first phone, we had a party line.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, even sometimes when the person wasn't supposed to be part of the party line.
Or even when somebody wasn't supposed to
be the party line. I was like, who is this? Who are you? Yep. That was funny. Yep. So we're gonna bring our wonderful.
We're gonna bring up Dr. Sherry. She's a blast.
And I want to just if you can give us a little bit of how, because I know you two met, and she's amazing.
We met through a mutual friend, Rich Kozak. And then, of course, connected on LinkedIn, and just had great conversations, and just realized that in many ways we've done some similar things. Like she's done like the Christy Marie Shelton, and I've done that, and several other things that we've done that are similar. And it's like, so it's kindred spirits.
I love that.
Holistic health, and she's a doctor. And one of the things that got me was as I was reading, like you look at the LinkedIn profile where what you've done. She's a PhD in nursing research. Wow,
that's a queen.
Yeah, and just all the things that she's done, and just added all the other things to it. So it's just so that's why I'm saying, just do something that you can do. And age is a number on a calendar. It is not, it does not define your life. It's an number on a calendar. If you want to go back to school and you're 70, go do it.
Go do it. Or write a book, or
write a
or
book.
get your
Or start a
PhD. I mean,
podcast.
this is like Dr. Sherry. Wow. So yeah, let's bring the queen on, but we got to show just a little love to our sponsors, and we'll be right back with the queen.
Good Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
Ta-da!
Hi.
Magic.
Good to see you all.
Good morning, queen.
Good morning.
So real quickly, if you're just chiming in right now, you are a part of the Time to Shine Happiness Show with our wonderful queen, Dr. Sherry Shoemaker. She's our guest for today, and I cannot wait to dig into her story because she does so much. So with that said, welcome, lady, welcome.
Thank you. Well, actually, I want to comment on something you two were talking about, and it was doing something, letting other people do things for you. When I started graduate school, I had to go through an interview process. And one of the things that they asked me was, what do you want to get out of this? And I said, I want to learn to delegate. Because I knew that I always did everything.
Right.
Whether I wanted to or not, I just always did it. So I really wanted to learn to delegate. But the other part of it was I realized over more time that I was only thinking about at work. And then I realized, no, this is a concept. This is something, a habit, a way of looking at things that I need to develop throughout my life, not just in my work life. And that was a real aha for me. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now.
She will not ask for help unless she's between a rock and a hard place and absolutely has to. She just feels that she has to do everything and can't change that. And I've tried to, it's like, it's okay to ask for help. I'm fine.
Well, you don't phrase it like that. You're not asking for help. You're asking for,
that's what she says,
a peer or a colleague or, advice or, let's communicate together. So it's not like, well, you're not efficient enough, or you're not something enough, so you need help.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about. And that leads me into,
that's a good point.
I do.
Okay, perfect. Let's learn.
So my business name is Where Spirit Takes Me. What I do is I take people from grief to grace, like you mentioned. And I'm sorry, my voice keeps coming and going. I have a little allergy to this new weather.
Yeah, believe me, doctor, I totally understand. I had to take my allergy pill before I came on, so I get it.
So my daughter died last year, and she was 35, and I had seen her the week before. She was 35, she lived on her own. I had seen her the week before, and she was radiant. She was so happy and so moving forward and so ready to, build her life. And then I get a phone call a week later that she didn't show up for work. And we ended up doing a wellness check because we didn't live in the same town. And she was found dead in her bed. It was like she went to sleep and didn't wake up. And that was that was such a profound loss that I was just in fog. I really could hardly do anything. Mm-hmm. But like you two have talked about, you have choices. Mm-hmm. And maybe you don't see them in the first nanosecond, but you get to the point where you have to make a choice. You either go on or you don't. Right. So with all of my experience and all of my knowledge as an emergency room trauma nurse, as an acupuncturist, Oriental medicine physician, taking care of people, and I had seen death, and I have seen trauma, and I have seen all of this so many times, I knew that I had so much inner knowledge that I could draw from. I had the practices, I had the techniques, I had everything. And so I used them. And what I realized was I could use them very efficiently. So it's not that I never think about her. It's not that I never do anything that has anything to do with her. I have 2 plants in my kitchen that came from her apartment, and they are still alive a year later. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
And they make me smile.
Yeah.
Because I think of her. And it makes me smile. Yeah. So what I did was I created a program. I coach people 2 ways. I have a 12-week Emerge Radiant program where I take people through the steps that you were talking about over 3 months. And each week we get together virtually and with practices and techniques that I know and have developed, that I've used myself, that I've used with other people, and then go from there. And so that's over 12 weeks. Now, there's other people that may have suffered other losses, like you said, jobs, divorce, just the feeling that I'm not a success. I thought I was, and now I'm not.
No, you're not.
And so I also coach people on an hourly, just a one at a time kind of program. So it's not a program. It's the one at a time.
The needs, yeah.
Yes.
Man, it's like you get to be a sounding board for, and sometimes that's all people need, is they just need to talk it out.
Well, they need to, like you keep talking about, change the perception. When you're stuck, you don't change your perception.
No.
You're just stuck. Yeah. And maybe you don't even change it the first time somebody says something to you about changing it. But the third time they say it, it suddenly clicks. And so, you never give up.
Right.
You never give up. And it does start with the inner you.
Right.
You have to know what your purpose is. You have to know. When I think about my loss with Diane, I go, what would honor her memory? Me sitting in a corner being
Right.
nothing, doing nothing,
Mhm.
or me being the best I can be?
Right.
What would honor my life, my God, my whatever? Me not going and getting a better job, or me going, oh, I lost this job, nobody loves me, I'm never going to be successful? No. Let's get to the inner you. Let's bring out that worthiness. Let's bring out the truth of who you are. You know, there's 5 stages of death and dying that Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross defined in 1969. And you have denial, you have anger, you have bargaining, and you have depression, and then you get to acceptance. But people don't go in that. They don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not right. So,
I'm glad you said that.
To 2, and then you go,
back.
oh yeah, never mind, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm at 5. It's good.
But-
And then you go back to 1, where you
Mhm.
go denial. No, how could this happen to me? No, this didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's not real. You know, kind of thing. So when I do coach people, I look at where they are
Right.
That's good.
and not where they're supposed to be. Oh, it's
Or
been
where other people think they should be.
yes.
That's one of my
Yes.
biggest things is it doesn't matter what other people think. What do you think? It's your life.
Yes. And that's hard.
And that's
Because
hard.
when you're in a vulnerable state, you kind of you grab onto people that you know, thinking that they have your best interest.
Or that they're supporting you.
Yes. And in a sense, they are, but they want you to stay they want you to be the same person you were before the situation. You're not going to be.
Right.
And you have to understand that. They have to understand that. You know, so as a coach, I want to help people understand, make their own identity, create their own boundaries, and be able to communicate. This is huge. Communicate them in a way that is caring and understandable, so that they are firm about, yeah, I know you think I should get out and go date, but I'm not ready.
Right.
I need this time of grace, and I will let you know when I'm ready. This isn't about you. It's about me and where I am.
Right.
You know, so the communication, to be able to help you communicate to the people around you. When I went back to work like 4 days after my daughter died, I was working remotely. I thought, well, I can do this because I've always been that person that I was very responsible. I always was structured. I had all of these things lined up. I go, well, you know, I only get so many days of bereavement leave, so I bet I'm going back to work. And I got on a meeting with somebody that I met with monthly, and I didn't know her very well. I knew her for work, but, you know, not personally so well. And I go, well, and it wasn't like there was a company-wide announcement that my daughter died. So I said to her, I just want you to know that if I don't understand what you're saying, and I ask you to repeat yourself a couple times, it's because I still am kind of foggy from my daughter dying recently. And she goes, oh my God. And then she went on to tell me that her sister had died when she was a teenager, and that her father would not allow anybody to touch her room for years.
Wow.
And my colleague said, don't ever let anybody tell you how to grieve.
Yes.
Don't ever let anybody tell you how to grieve. And I went, it was like a light bulb. Somebody gave me permission
To do.
And I went, I got off the call and I called my boss and I said, I'm not ready to be here. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Yes. Ooh, good for you.
Fortunately, she was a good boss and she said, okay, that's fine. We'll work it out. We'll figure out, you're on the books. Don't worry. Don't worry about the money part. Okay. You got that job. Okay. And so things like that, I think, are so valuable. But if you're not, if too many people don't realize that they need to listen and hear and evaluate because they're just not in that emotional space. I learned a lot too from being an acupuncturist for 20 years and having an office for 10 of those years. And my professors would say, okay, you need to treat the person in front of you. You don't treat the person who came to see you last week or the person who was there a month ago. You treat the person in front of you. And you observe and you question current. You don't go back because they're never the same.
Right.
And so many people, when it's like you have to give them permission to be different. And the people around them need to allow them to be the new them. Because like you two have said, you only get better. You can only get better. So does all of this make sense to you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just all engulfed right now. I want to just mention two things that you said so much powerful stuff, but I love how you said, meet people where they're at. It is so important to do that. See, when I lost my dad at the age of 17, I was 17 years old when he passed, and he passed because he was murdered. And my mother I wish I had you at that time, Queen, because my mother was the type of person to say, we don't tell our, we are okay.
Right.
You can't go out there and start, just crying, screaming and all that. You just have to just be, that's what she was doing. That's what she was conditioned to do. And in my mind, 17 years old, just about to graduate from high school, and then this tragic thing happened, I was like, I need somebody to talk to. And it looked like she's not the one. And I had to let that thing stuff. I didn't really get a chance to do the 5-step like you talked about, Queen, until around when I turned like almost 30. With that, because I just kept it inside. I had to be the strong, how we say we got to be strong, we got to work, we got to do this and that.
Right.
And I just kept doing that. And all of a sudden it's just like one day, and it took another person, like you said, sometimes it took another individual come in your life to just shake you. And it was the person I was dating. And
wow.
Yeah, it was a person, and I didn't expect this at all. And I always say this because I hope it helps, our stories help other people. And I didn't even realize I was doing this with my relationship, because I was wondering why my relationship wasn't really too cool. It was like I would meet somebody, we'd meet, and then it didn't work out, and then just kept moving on. So I was like, okay, what's going on with me? Is something wrong with me and men or whatever? And you know how we always say that first. So this one relationship, it was lasting a little longer than the norm. And one day he just said, Barbara, I am not your daddy. I'm your boyfriend.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I was like, oh. What did I just do? What? I mean, where did all this come from? And it really shook me to say to myself, all this time, since the age of 17, I was looking for a father figure in somebody. And that was not the right thing to do because I did not get a chance to talk it out. I didn't get the counseling. I didn't get that, just
Right.
up and just scream, or like you said, go through the process. Yeah.
It's just not been something anybody's done for years and years and years. And even I had clients when I was doing acupuncture, which I do not do now, but I use all of the principles and all of the philosophies that I learned with what I do. But I had patients that, as I treated them, their emotions would come out.
Right.
Because you cannot, and even with coaching, you're not coaching this issue or that piece of that person. You are coaching the whole person.
Right.
You are coaching the physical, the mental, and the emotional. And if you don't think you are, you better rethink it. Because we are not pieces. We are whole.
Yes.
And you cannot separate them out. And even if you say, well, it's just my finger that hurts. I don't care. I believe that's connected to your arm. I think there was an old song about that.
Yeah.
The thumb bone connected to the knee bone or whatever.
To the tailbone. Yeah. That was a song.
So somebody else knew that. But you have to know that the emotional is there.
Yeah.
And sometimes the emotion creates the physical issue. And sometimes the physical issue creates the emotion. But it's still all connected.
Yes.
So when you do work with people, when I work with people, I always bring all of that together and address everything. People, even in the emergency room, we would have 3 minutes to triage a patient because we're very busy. So you would really have to, I honed my intuitive and observational skills very quickly and then continued to do that with Oriental medicine. And you almost have to listen to all the subtext because people tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
They don't always tell you what's the real issue is. And it takes time for them to allow themselves to do that. You can give them practices like journaling or breathing techniques or meditation. Sometimes that works because that's difficult for a lot of people. So it depends how open they are to it and how they respond. But so you have to look at them. You have to really see them. And that's how I treat people. So I just know there's too many people that do not seek help, that are still not talking about it, that their families still do not want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I was in an airport one time, 25 years ago, and it was very crowded, and I was at a Cinnabon, and I had a table, and there was an extra chair, and this guy asked if he could sit down. It was fine. We just talked, chit-chat. And I don't know how we got on this subject, maybe because he told me he was a lawyer, and I told him I was a nurse at the time. And so maybe it was more than 25 years ago. I don't know. Anyway, so he started telling me that he had been the sole caretaker of his wife for a year and a half. She had cancer, and through the whole process, he became her sole caretaker. So she had died 6 months ago, and his friends were saying, "You've got to get out. You've got a date. You've got to get out." And he's going, I didn't really want to, but they made me feel guilty because I didn't want to. I didn't want to get out. and I didn't want to disappoint them. And I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe if I get out, maybe it'll all get better. And so he went on a date that they arranged. And he goes, by the end of the date, he felt like the woman was looking for some kind of a support person, that she wanted him to support her. And he goes, I just didn't want to do it. But when you go into something with that kind of a mindset of I don't want to do it, you're going to find that's how that person is going to, you're going to find a way to make it not good.
That's so true.
True. So it's like sabotage.
Yeah.
So
find a way to sabotage it.
Exactly. So I went on to tell him about the 5 stages of grieving, and that to even give himself a year was not unreasonable, that was what the, statistically, that it was a year, and, that kind of research thing, which appealed to him because he was, an academic kind of guy. And, but the biggest thing was he went away feeling like he was okay.
Wow.
Right.
It's huge.
That he was still moving forward with his life, that he was okay to feel the way he felt, that his feelings were okay.
Right. I think that's has a former emotion stuffer all my life.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I really had to realize is that, it's emotion is good. All it is energy in motion.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's energy in motion. And so when we can get in touch with that emotion, like my husband's been gone 13 years. It's only been in the last 6 months that I've said, gee, maybe I might want to date now.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Everybody has been saying to me, Barbara, it started years ago. Barbara, don't you think you don't want to spend the rest of your life alone? Yeah, I know, but I'm not yet. No, I'm not ready. And so thank you very much, because that's exactly what I would tell them. I'm just not ready yet. No, I have no desire. And I think I finally shut up my sister. I said, when I see a man that I really want to kiss him, then I might consider dating him.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be arranged. Yeah.
Just.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to put one more plug in for my.
Oh, yes.
My information, and I'm wherespirittakesme.com. Please look at my website, check out what I do. I have a discovery call, 25-minute discovery consultation call that's free, that just so that it's a Zoom call so we can get to know each other. Yeah. And then if it feels fit for both of us, then we can make an appointment from there.
So wow, doctor, this has been amazing. I mean, I can just listen to you. I mean, you're just so soothing. You are. I mean, that's why I wish I had you when I was 17. It's like, wow, I needed somebody like this. So just please reach out, like Dr. Sherry said, please reach out to her website, get on her calendar. I mean, if you are dealing with something, and it's okay, it's never too late. Yeah, like she said, she will meet you where you are right now. It's never too late to say, I need the help, or I need to go through that 5-step process. Look at me. I just told everybody it took me till 30 years old. I was 17, 30 to go through the process. Right. So, no matter how long, it doesn't matter how long it takes, just get it done. Just make sure you get it done. So
you want to be the best you can be, because that's how you honor you honor the other person, you honor yourself, and you honor everybody around you. Yeah. To be in a state of bliss.
Right. Yes. And sometimes things will come up so many years later, and all of a sudden it's like, where did that come from? Yeah. But by then, when it happened to me a couple of years ago, it was like, where did that come from about David? And yet I was but by then I already had some of the tools that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Find the tool that works for you.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Find a tool
that can teach you how to use the tool, because there are we don't have to. I loved what you said. We don't do life on our own.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
And we're not
So
expected
the
to.
tool is Dr. Sherry.
Reach out. Reach out.
Reach out to her. So with that, we just love every Wednesday. Come to us, Time to Shine Happy Show. We will have our wonderful next guest next week. But
No, it's just us next week.
Oh, so it's next week. Oh, so it's just us. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll have some fun.
All sorts of fun things that we're doing in our own lives and businesses.
Yeah.
So,
When we invite you back, Dr. Share your family now, so you can come back anytime. We just love you.
Thank you.
We'd like to hang out with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would love to come back. You guys are great. I love this.
We'll receive that. Thank you.
So with that said, we'll see you next Wednesday. Talk to you soon.
See you next Wednesday. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Well, goodbye, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. I'm your host, Barbara Ellison, and I look forward to seeing you next time, where we will have a great guest talking about making happiness the norm rather than the exception. Because, you know what, we believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant life, whatever that means to you. So join us again. And please, to get reminded, hit the subscribe button or the like button wherever you're listening to us. And we will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.